of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Fran has left us to go to warmer lands this week, and so taking her responsibilities on our Janet. Janet, would you call the roll, please?
Joe? Here. Bob? Here. Linda?
Here.
Candace? Here. Marion?
Here.
And I'm here.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 2nd board meeting?
So I make a motion.
Okay. Hearing a motion and a second, all in favor, please signify aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Is Marie here yet? No. Okay. We'll give a few minutes for that. Fran, are you going to come in and give us a residence club report? She's busy cleaning up. You know, there are people who stand up here and speak, and there are people that support us by doing the work that's really needed, and that's what she's doing. But on behalf of the Residents Club, I'm going to ask, is she coming? Oh, good. Fran, do you want to give us a report on the Residents Club? Do you want to walk all the way up here, or would you like me to bring the mic to you? Okay.
Morning, guys. Okay, Residents Club, unfortunately, due to, I don't know, some inclement weather or whatever, we only have 16 people for a soup luncheon. We will have a meeting, but I will cancel the soup luncheon, and we'll have it like on a Saturday from 12 to 3. I have my executive meeting on Wednesday. We'll decide the date, and we'll let you people know when I will have it. It'd be nice from 12 to 3 on an afternoon on Saturday. So whoever bought tickets, excuse me, I'll be there Wednesday. You can get your money back, you know, temporarily until we find out what date we're going to get this done, because there's so many activities coming up. We also have our flea market on the 23rd of April. We also are still going with the paint set, and we also are going with the dance in April. So those are still covered. We have Mamma Mia trip coming up, and we also have the Spirit of Philadelphia bingo cruise. So it's in the voice, so I just figure out that you guys know. Unfortunately, we only had 16 people that were coming to the soup luncheon. I mean, what are we gonna do with 16 people? I mean, really, especially with the weather, who knows, you know, what it is. Some people can't get out, some people don't want to take a chance. They see snow, they get scared, and I don't blame them because they are older. They all have canes, they have walkers, they have wheelchairs, and they want to go out when they're safe. So that's why I figured I might as well postpone it. It's not like we're not gonna have it, we will have it. So, all right, I just want to let you guys know. I'll let my other people know on Wednesday too. So, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you, Fran.
Thank
So if you read The Voice, you know I'm one of those people that can't draw a straight line with a ruler. That's what my father used to tell me all the time. But I'm going to come out to paint the set. Only the good Lord knows what that's going to look like. It might scare a few people. Might look like my 4-year-old grandson's artwork, but that's okay because I think we're going to have a great time. So come and join us. Treasurer's report. Could you make sure you use your microphone?
Good morning. Okay, our monthly financial overview, our operating and reserve funding. I want to preface this by saying that when I read you these numbers, it's a moving train. So invoices are coming in, checks are going out, but as of, here's the current. Operating reserve funding, $430,286, that's the operating. Reserves money market, $443,928. Our fixed asset reserve money market, $19,674. And we have a certificate of deposit for reserve, $220,000, that's in Santander. We have an ICS operating sweep account of $445,000, and our reserves, $3,772,000 is the total. Again, I want to let, in case there's new people here who recently moved into the village, to let you know, those reserves are mandated by the state of New Jersey for all of the things that we are required to do as a co-op. That includes the roofs, the cross bases, the roads, the garbage pickup, the maintenance, all those things that we have to do in our 5-year plan. We also have a CD coming due at Morgan Stanley. Actually, it did last week. Tom called me, and we placed $150,000 with a maturity of August of 2029. What we try and do with that $3,772,000, everybody in here knows that FDIC only insures up to $250,000 in any one account. So what we try and do is ladder our CDs and ladder them into the years in which we have the work planned to do in the reserves. Resales. 26A Columbus Boulevard, we had a Stratford sell for $140,000, and our 3% total currently is $482,900. That's the current picture. However, we have a lot of outstanding bills that will be coming in. For instance, we have to replace the boiler in this building. We had 2 boilers, now we only are down to 1, but we issued a contract to replace the boiler, replace the generator, which was undersized. It was like a residential house generator. We need a commercial generator. And in order to do those things, we also have to upgrade the electrical panel. We just recently repaired the annex, and we also are going to be getting some furniture for the annex so that we can have a lot of activities and scale them to what you need them for. We took out the existing island that's in there. It was a built-in island, old 70s version, and it was sort of wobbly. And now we're going to have a piece of furniture. It's ordered. It should be coming in another 4 weeks or so. And it's one that you can move around the room. If you are having an activity, you can move this around to serve your food or for storage. So we're trying as best as we can to update the things that need to be updated without inundating ourselves and our HOA fees, and certainly avoiding my concern, any assessments. Our residents don't need any more bills on top of what's already going up that we have no control of, which is electric and taxes. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. you, Candace. I had a phone call over the course of the snowstorm, and someone wanted us to bring in another contractor to assist. And it's a great idea. It certainly would have helped with our 2+ feet of snow, but that would cost a lot of money. And so they said to me, well, can't you take it out of that big account you have for reserves? And I had to say, no, unfortunately, reserves are for repair and replacement only. And that's a concept that we all need to kind of wrap our heads around. That money is not just sitting there waiting for us to think of something to spend it on. It's for the repair of buildings or equipment, or to replace buildings and equipment. And so we don't get to just touch that money. And you did a good job of explaining that, and I hope everyone clearly understands. The tree report. Do you want to? Well, let me tell you about
We're
the
out of money.
trees. We are indeed out of money, but many trees came down over last week's storm. If you were to drive up Bowie, the main road of Bowie, there are trees and large branches all the way from the beginning to the end of Bowie. It is the same on many other streets throughout our village. So cleanup will begin, and then of course removal will have to begin. The tree that was on common ground between myself and my neighbor split in half, and that's a common occurrence in last week's storm. If you drive around, you'll see they actually split. And fortunately, although it was a tall tree, it came down in a way that it slid down the side of my house. It didn't hit the roof, it just slid down the side. Now I'm sure when they get around to taking that out, which is about impossible, because there's still 18 inches of snow on the ground, and that's not going to be gone in the near future with 20-degree mornings. And so there will be damage under there. Now that's something our reserves gets called into play for if the siding and things like that are damaged in a storm, the gutters, because that's the responsibility of the HOA. And so I am sure we're going to see a lot that will be related to trees in the coming weeks. And Candace will tell us about it, followed by, and we're already over budget. That's going to be the line that she uses.
Yeah, we budgeted $56,000 for trees, and we have already exhausted that budget, and we have to go until 30 September. So I'll be looking at any of our other accounts where perhaps we can move some money around and do some more work with the trees. Thank goodness the tree branches that have come down, we can get those picked up under our current contract, which contractor is allowed to move those. But taking down the entire tree itself, that requires us to use the tree budget.
Thank you. So Fran is not here. I'm Jen. If I bring you the mic, would you speak a little bit about the contract committee and the things? Oh, Don, okay. Don, would you speak a little bit about the contract committee and what we do?
Hello. So the contract committee reviews the current contract, and we look for possibilities for the future. and we look at the current commitments that our contractors provide. Other areas that we look at for future items that could come up in a contract. We look to see if there's other providers that are willing to do that job at a reasonable rate, and they send that out for bids. The best I can think of right now, we're looking at the lawn care, snow removal, that type of contract. So we look to see what they're currently doing, how they're providing the service, and we try to get it as efficiently and cheaply as possible. My time at doing contracts for my previous job were all about deliveries. So you have to be able to provide the service and commit to what you've contracted for. So when I look at a contract service, I look to see how they've provided that service and did they meet all their commitments, and I give them a grade. So that's an explanation that I can give you right now. I don't know if there's.
Well, we'll save questions for later.
Yes. Carl. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Do you know, I purposely looked for someone from the committee to speak to because I think it's very important that everyone understand that without the efforts and work of the committees, much would not get done. They are your fellow residents who live here, and they commit their time and energy to serving on a committee. And those committees are important to the running of our village. And so I would encourage you to call the office, call me personally, say you want to sit on a committee, and we will definitely use you because it's so important that we have these committees. Currently, in addition to lawn care and snow removal, we're looking at the Stanley contract. It was a 5-year contract. It expires on June 30th of this year. And, you know, we need to do what we need to do to bring our budget in line so that our dues does not go up significantly year after year. Trust me, our dues will go up, but we want to keep it to a minimal amount so that we can all afford to live here in Crestwood Village too. I don't know about you, but I like living here. And so I want us to be able to maintain our village, keep it aesthetically and safely cared for at the best price possible. And so that's what we do. And so thank you, Don, for coming up. Do you gentlemen have mics at your end? I'm going to ask for approval of permission requests.
We have refaced kitchen cabinets, 172A Constitution, replace kitchen cabinet doors, and put a new floor in at 105E Constitution Boulevard, replace windows, 75B Hudson Parkway, bathroom remodeling, 6B Columbus Boulevard, replace Windows 60 Hancock drive, new water heater with a drain pan, 16D Columbus Boulevard, installation of a heat pump, 10A Snowberry Lane, new countertop, 3A Homestead Drive, new water heater, 4C Snowberry Lane, placement of a storage shed, 12B Hancock Drive, new electrical sub-panel, 32 Hudson Park Drive, and new storm door on 7A Winterview Lane. Motion to approve?
Joe?
Second.
All those in favor of approving these permission requests, please signify by saying aye. Opposed? Hearing none, the motion is approved. You know, Bob and I did a orientation last week for 2 different families that are going to be moving into our village. And what I said to them, and what I say to everyone is, we love when you do this kind of work in your unit. We really do. It's important that our units are constantly kept in good condition. And so we're really grateful for people that do this work. But, and here's the only little caveat, put in your request for permission to do the work. And why we do that is so that some of these things actually require permits from the township. And if you do something like replace a water heater without that permit, and then you go to sell, and the inspector comes in and goes, oh, that's a new water heater, I don't have a request for that work to be done. It's not permitted. And then he holds up the sale of the unit until the people that did the work get the people that actually did the work to come back in and verify it, get a certificate from the community. And so it's very important that you put in your work orders and your requests to do work in your units. And we really appreciate that. We have no new contracting services that need to be approved this month. We have no old business and no new business. So that brings us to the President's report. Joyce, I have an answer for you. I do. You know, month after month, Joyce has asked us about reassessment for tax purposes. And the only person that you can talk to or have come talk to, and he'll only come talk to the board, not to the residents, is Martin Lynch, the tax assessor. He told me he has been in his position for almost 30 years, and that the last time there was a reassessment was for the tax year 2009, and that was after the 07 recession. He has said, unfortunately, that 2026 is not a declining market, and there are no grounds for an appeal, and that an appeal is not warranted. He has looked at units and sales. So currently, Lexington is assessed at $156,000. The average sale over the last 18 months continues to be $188,000. So if the actual sale price is higher than the assessed value, they will tell you this is not warranted and you do a reassessment. An Essex A is assessed at $62,000, and over the last 18 months is selling for between $59,000 and $65,000. And again, he says an assessment is not warranted. He did want us to know and to understand that what he calls a distressed unit. So if you've done all the work on your unit, or you're one of these many people that have put in a request to do work, but your next door neighbor hasn't done anything since it was built 55 years ago, they do not look at that unit for a value. They call that a distressed unit, and they don't look at that when they do their assessments. And he did want us to know that co-op units are not individually assessed. It is an average price based on sales over the last 18 months. Now I know that for many of you, including myself, this is not the news that you wanted. Our bills are increasing regularly. Yesterday, my husband's phone beeped and he looked at it and he said to me, I don't think you want to know what the electric bill is going to be. And I was like, no, I don't think so. Last month's was $411. It hasn't been over $250 in the 6 years I've lived here. This month, my bill is $546.72. I was heartbroken. It actually brought tears to my eyes. And like many of you, you're going to look at this month's bill and go, how do they expect us to pay this? And I'd like to tell you that there is money available for that, but there really isn't. Now, in this month's Voice, you will find the information on how to apply for LIHEAP, which is some assistance for your electric bill. There is something else in there, there's 2 whole pages, they're together. Does anybody have this month's in front of them? I see you do. There's 2 pages that will tell you what is available for help with your bills. I would encourage you all to take a look at it and see if you qualify for anything. It's pages 14 and 15. You see that? So there's LIHEAP, there's the Universal Service Fund, and a Lifeline program. And then there's How New Jersey Can Help. You can find out about other programs from NJ 211, and there's a weatherization assistance program. If you can, go on, take a look, see what you might be eligible for. Everything is based on income, and hopefully you'll be able to get some assistance, because I know that these prices are going to be difficult for many of the residents of Crestwood to be able to manage. And so, Joyce, I'm sorry. I really am. I know that you kept after us to find out the information, and we were finally able to get it, and it's not what any of us wanted.
You didn't mention me.
I did not. He gave me those ones. He said it's the same with all of them. Nothing has come down significantly.
I wanted to know the assessed value.
I can try reaching him again. Maria Ellen, would you take a note of that to see if we can find out what they value the Yorktown
Sorry. Questions and answers.
Yeah, questions and answers are after, that's okay. And if you would make a list and give it to the office, it would probably be easier. If there's more than one or two, it would be easier to do that. All right, give it to her afterwards, okay? And this way then we can move forward. And then the ladies who work in the office asked me to beg your forgiveness because of an error on the calendar. You know, we do unbelievable work here, and we check that calendar till I'm tired of looking at it. We check it in the office, Maria Ellen sends it out to the board, check this, is there anything else? Go on and on. And today she said, we made an error. I tried beating her up, but I didn't have the energy. It was 8:30 this morning. And so, the dates for recycling are wrong. They are the 5th, which is this Thursday, and the 19th, which is 2 weeks later. And so the calendar page is in the lobby so that you can take the updated calendar page with you, but just in case, recycling will be Thursday the 5th, that's this week, and Thursday the 19th.
Is Branch pickup still the 26th?
Yes.
Branch and Brush is on the 26th, yes. Now, in case you are still wondering why you were asked for identification when you entered today for the meeting, it is because we had someone in our meeting who was not a certificate holder. And open board meetings are only for certificate holders. You cannot participate in this meeting, you can't be in this meeting unless you're a certificate holder. And so Susan had a list of all our certificate holders. She checked your ID against it and made certain that you were permitted to be here. So thank you for your understanding. We will probably continue to do this on a regular basis to assure that the information of this village isn't just floating around out there, being shared, talked about by people who don't necessarily understand what's going on. So I thank you for your cooperation and your willingness. I didn't hear any loud yelling or anything. It went very smoothly, so I really thank you and I appreciate your willingness. Next on my agenda to share with you is where are we at with the HVAC and generator. Well, you heard Candace say we have 2 boilers, only one of them is working. We have done fairly well this winter. We haven't been unnecessarily cold, so I hope you've appreciated that. But we do need, the city came in and did their preliminary inspections. We need a new pad for a propane tank. And when the engineer heard about that, his suggestion was if you're going to pull up and dig and do all of that, let's just connect to the natural gas lines, which is a great way to handle a generator, to have it attached to our natural gas lines. So that's going to be the next step in our HVAC and generator updates, is that we're going to be hooking into natural gas, and I think that'll definitely help us. So where are we at with the annex? Well, if you've been one of the lucky few to get a sneak peek, and many of you are among that group, you know that things are moving along beautifully with the annex building. Joan and Mary have been here putting books into the bookshelves, getting that part of the room ready. We're going to talk in our workshop today about the furniture that we wish to purchase for in there, for the multi-purpose use of that room. And if we can do it, it's going to look lovely. We're going to put 5 chairs and a coffee table in that corner and in that corner. If you come in through the main door, the back corner on that side, left and right, will have 5 lovely chairs and a coffee table. So if you're a reader and you want to come in and sit and read a book in the multi-purpose room, you can do that. If you're having a poetry reading, those chairs can be turned around. People can sit comfortably. There will be some tables. We're going to use folding tables because we don't want the room crowded, that people can sit at and be able to participate in poetry reading or just talk. The Singles Club, you know, I thought, wow, what a great place that would be to have Singles Club. It's so nice and bright and cheery. Fran won't let me come to Singles Club, nor will my husband, but you never know. I might hide out in the back just to see what's going on. I hear they go out to eat regularly. So if you're single, check the back calendar. It tells you when those meetings are, and they do some fun things, and enjoy yourself. That's what we're here to do. We, though, cannot open the annex just yet because we must have updated certificates of occupancy in order to do that. Now, we are blessed to have someone in our number, our own Gail Akbar, who is part of the zoning committee, and she's giving them a little push in order to get those COs so that we can open that end of the building. For those of you that live on Potomac or walk on Potomac and are wondering about the car that has been sitting there for over a year now, untouched and unmoved, well, the certificate holder passed away. And we can do nothing until that car goes through the process of the government of the United States of America, which means they have to research if there's any family that can come in. There's no executor or anything like that. And so, but we're almost to that place where we'll be able to do something with that car. And so please bear with us just a little longer, and it will be moved and ready for someone else to park there. I chair the bylaws committee. Susan is on the bylaws committee, right? Yeah. No, your contracts. You know, I go to both of them. Jen, I knew I'd find reason to utilize her today. Would you like to talk to us about the bylaws committee? Would you like me to bring you a microphone?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Stanton. My husband and I are both on the bylaws committee. We are revising the bylaws virtually line by line to update it from 2014, something like that. Just some things are outdated, and then we also wanted to look at how things can, give additional convenience to the residents. We're looking at all different options in terms of perhaps needing to have someone stay in your unit temporarily, maybe while you're incapacitated, or if you're on vacation, that we're looking at that to expand the ability to expand permission for things. And then we're also looking to come up with different items that kind of anticipate possible problems to deal with that now before it would actually come up. In terms of, sometimes it's like for your state. So, it takes a while, but I said we have a very good crew, and everyone really thinks it through, and we change it, and then we change it, and then we change it, till we get it exactly where we want it. So, that's it.
Thank you so much, Jen. And then after the bylaws go through the committee to be reviewed, once we've come up with what we think are the changes that would best serve Crestwood Village 2, the entire document has to go to the attorney. And so what we did was we stopped at a halfway point and we sent it to the office for them to put it in order, and then to that half to the attorney. And by the time we finish going through the second half, we anticipate he'll be done with the first half and kind of keep it moving in that way. So that's where we're at. I'm going to save snow removal for the end. There is a strong possibility that there's going to be a multi-village activity. So, you know, the villages are separate entities. But 2 years ago, we started meeting together about transportation services. And we were able to increase transportation services and reduce the price significantly for every village. Well, we like meeting together, and so we are currently talking about landscaping and snow removal and how that can be made better if we utilize multi-village services. And then someone came to us and said, what are the villages doing for the 250th anniversary of the United States? And that was a good question because we had not really considered it. But now we are. And so we are looking to do an anniversary parade that would go through the villages. And then we're going to have a central location for food trucks so people can come out, watch the parade, get a hamburger or a hot dog, and we're anticipating this for sometime in late July or early August. So, and then we want to recognize our veterans and the spouses of veterans. And so we're looking at how best to do that for our village. You know, I get to go to all these villages, and you go in Village 5 and they have pictures of all their vets. And in another village, they have a table for the unknown veteran who has passed away. And so we're looking at what we can do for Village 2. If you have suggestions, please give them to us, because we want to be able to show our appreciation, not only for our vets, but for their spouses. There are so many spouses in particular that live here, and certainly veterans. And I'm going to guess that our former board member is a vet, because his wife looks so happy that we're going to do something. And I think that's really important. So you're going to see lots of things coming up that we'll be able to do. And now we're going to talk about snow removal.
250.
250 years old, the United States of America. I see someone who must have a question. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about, and then we will do questions and answers, okay? So I am going to thank those of you, and there were many of you, who called me, who posted on Nextdoor Neighbor or on Facebook about how pleased you were with how snow removal was going in Village 2. Now, that's not to say there weren't people that weren't happy with it. I have to tell you, the street I live on did not get cleaned until 4 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon, and my driveway not till 7 o'clock that night. I wasn't thrilled. But the snow in front of my house was this high. And I can't expect miracles. Well, I do expect miracles, but I'm also smart enough to know that they're probably not going to happen as quickly as I'd like them to. But the pile of snow that was in the middle of our street, which was 6 feet tall, has melted down to about 4 feet tall. So if we just get past today and this really cold weather, I'm sure it's going to continue to melt and things will get better. So for those of you that had kind words, I thank you. I will tell you that I thought that Johns did a somewhat better job than he did in the last storm. That is because we met with him and we were adamant about the things that have to happen. His contract says that our mailboxes are clear, that the fire hydrants are clear, and that the sewer drains are clear. And he made sure that that happened. And so, I don't know about the rest of the board because we haven't met yet, although the two gentlemen and I were on it like, I don't know what, we were constantly in contact and communication. I'm sure that Bob's wife just thinks that all he does is talk to contractors, and that may be true, right? But we got it done. And within 48 hours, all of the roads, all of the driveways were cleared. And that's what we contract with him for. And so that was truly a blessing. Our contract calls for 24 hours, but that's for your usual 3 to 6 inches and not 20 plus inches. So I was happy with 48 hours, and I hope that most of you were also. I know it's hard. Many of you go to work. Maybe not the group that's here now because they're at work. And so it was a problem, you know. They called, I have to go to work, I have to go to work, I have to go to work. The only thing that we give priority to are medical issues, that being chemotherapy, dialysis, and oxygen. Now, we've had 2 bad back-to-back storms. In our meetings that we have, the board, they're called workshops, one of the things that I believe we need to talk about is who else needs priority snow removal. Many of you are caregivers, and you need to get to your client. That person may not have anyone else that's going to come in and take care of them. As I drove through the village on Tuesday of last week, I saw people who were shoveling, and I would stop and I'd say, your street is scheduled to be done today at around this time, or your street's going to be done around this time. And one man said to me, I have 2 multiply handicapped clients. I have to get a nurse to them tomorrow morning. Can you promise me that I will be dug out by that time? And I said to him, I can't, but I will give you my phone number, and if you're not dug out by 2 o'clock, call me directly and we'll get someone in here. So there are other areas besides those 3 that may require priority. Candace has a friend and a neighbor who has a serious medical condition for whom she needed to get her to the hospital, and we couldn't make that happen. And an ambulance was required to get her there. And so people would say, well, why do we have to shovel out our next door neighbor? Well, because her next door neighbor is the person who's taking her to the hospital for these regularly scheduled medical appointments.
But by the way, I paid $100 to have my car and my driveway dug out. because I didn't think it was fair. Everybody else on Hudson was still waiting, so.
I understand that. You know, we finally got our driveway cleared out and the road, I can't get in the car from the driveway because the snow is so deep on the lawn on the sides next to where the driveway is. And so I needed to have my walkway cleared, and I had to pay for that. Now that was a number one concern. I cannot tell you how many calls the office or I got about snow removal, and it has to be done now, or they don't do my sidewalk. If you're in a standalone, they don't do your sidewalk, only for the Cambridge, because it doesn't have an inside entrance to the garage. But many people in a standalone use their garage for storage, and so they still cannot get out in order, or a duplex to get out through that garage. And those houses do not get their sidewalks shoveled. And so we were giving out phone numbers of snow shovelers. Not everyone thought that was a great idea. I don't know anything else to do except to say to you, I'm sorry, your walkway isn't eligible to be cleared, or it may not get cleared in the time frame that you need it to be cleared. And so here are some people who can help you if you choose, but you will have to pay for that. And so it was difficult, but we did get through more than 2 feet of snow. Unless you lived on a street where the wind blew it all away, but certainly not where I lived. That snow was piled high, and it was a difficult time. But here we are, a week later, and although it's cold out, the sun is shining. It was 60 degrees on Saturday, and they promised me that we will see 60 degrees yet again.
72.
Oh,
72 degrees on Thursday.
may you be blessed coming in and going out, my friend. I can't think of anything better than a 72-degree day. So, I thank you for your attention to detail, and I would entertain. Linda, do you want to talk to us about any of the activities? I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. That's quite all right. I think Fran mentioned everything that's going on in April and March here through the Residents Club. And Marion mentioned that we are going to get together and figure out what kind of celebration we're going to be doing for our 250th year-old USA. Also, we're going to also have, for the grand reopening of the library/multi-purpose room, we will also have a celebration. I'll keep you posted on that. Just wanted to tell you that if you wanted to go to any one of the events and you can't come on a Wednesday to get tickets, my name is on all the flyers in the Village Voice. Please call me and I'll make arrangements to get the tickets to you. I'm always looking for people to participate. It's very disheartening when we have events and then I have to cancel them because there's no participation. And one other thing, I just want you to be aware of the changes on the back of the Voice. We took away Sunday because Sunday it was unnecessary. We're not open on Sunday. So it just shows when we are open and what the events are. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Janet, do you have anything you'd like to share? Okay.
Oh, I did.
For a laugh, I decided to go out and shovel my sidewalk on Tuesday because I wanted to clean my car. And I lost my balance, and I fell backwards into the snow, and I could not get up. The snow was so soft that every time I tried to push myself up, I sunk farther and farther snow. I was like a turtle that got turned over on its back. All I could do was just lay there and laugh. I must have been there for about 15 minutes until my body melted the snow and I was able to get up. Thank God nobody saw me.
That's the best snow story I've heard this year. Thank you for sharing it with us. I would have been crying on the ground. A snow angel, that's great. And so I'm going to ask the board for a motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, this portion of our meeting is adjourned.